What's up dudes, Slash for Nerds here, and in this video, papakita ko sa inyo kung paano ko nakabuo ng 1080p up to 1440p na gaming rig for around a budget of 30,000 pesos or less. So first of all, yung mga basic parts na kailangan natin is, of course, a motherboard, a processor, RAM, an SSD, a graphics card of course, a power supply, and a case. Now in terms of cooler, since we're on a tight budget, we're gonna use processor na may kasama siyang cooler. So yung unang part na kailangan nating isipin is yung processor na gagamitin natin. It's gonna be either Intel or AMD. In this case, I opted for AMD. So ito yung unang parts natin. It's a Ryzen 5 5600 processor. And the seller is selling this for 5,500 and I managed to haggle it down to 5,000. I think that's one of those seller tactics na maglalagay sila ng butal. The actual price is actually just 5,000. I tried to haggle it a bit for 4,500 pero the seller wouldn't budge. But still, this is a great processor if you're starting in gaming. It's a 6-core 12-thread processor and I think in my opinion, kahit sa 2025 kaya pa rin ng 6-core processor yung mga games na ilalabas. Plus, if you're an esports type gamer, I think this would be sufficient for your gaming needs. Now, next is gonna be the motherboard. Since na-determine natin kung anong platform yung gagamitin natin, which is AMD, and it's an AM4 socket, so we're gonna be needing an AM4 motherboard. I managed to find this motherboard, which is almost everything in this list is gonna be around my local area. So yeah, so ito yung nakuha kong motherboard. This is the Gigabyte Aorus B450 Elite. This is actually a good motherboard based sa mga reviews na nakita ko. The seller is selling this motherboard for 4,000 pesos and in my opinion, this is one of the more good looking motherboards out there. Now, if you're wondering, since I'm on a tight budget, bakit B450 but hindi A320? Well, for one, yung pricing ng A320 plus B450 is halos magkalapit na sila. So I decided to go a step above A320. Plus, I could do some minor overclocking in here if I wanted to. Usually, yung mga A320s na nakikita ko sa Facebook Marketplace is around 3,000 pesos na rin or 2,500. I tried to haggle a bit and I managed to brought it down for 3,000 pesos, which is a good deal. According to the seller, this is 1 month used only and no issues. Sobrang bait na seller, siya pa yung magdi-deliver sa akin. For the next part, we're gonna be getting the RAM. Now, in my opinion, a 3600 MHz speed of RAM is yung sweet spot ng AM4 platform. And again, guys, this is 2025. Just get 2 sticks of RAM, okay? So I got this Team Group T-Force Delta RGB. Yes, I opted for RGB. Why not? I think this is gonna be the only RGB in my PC, which is a 16GB 2x8GB DDR4 3600. And I got this from ITW World sa Shopee, since mga second-hand sellers are selling their RAMs for 2,500 as well during the time of this filming. I decided to check on Shopee to see what's the brand new prices of RAMs. And lo and behold, I managed to secure a voucher for 1,050 pesos and napababa ko yung price niya ng 2,500. So I decided to get the brand new one instead kasi halos same price din naman sila sa Facebook Marketplace. And next, we are getting an SSD. This is 2025. And up with the hard disk, pag sa mga OS nyo, you should be going for an SSD at least or an NVMe SSD. So this seller is selling this SSD, which is the 970 EVO Plus for 3,500. Now, I think this is a bit pricey, pero I decided to hop on a Discord call with the seller and pinatest ko sa kanya yung SSD using the software from Samsung. Okay naman yung performance ng SSD niya and we talked for a bit about gaming and stuff and I have managed to brought down the price of this SSD to 2,000 pesos, which is I think a good deal for a 1TB SSD. So for the graphics card, I opted for the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 8GB OC iGame Advance, which is fun fact, that is also my graphics card na nandun sa main PC ko. So I have two 3070s now. Yes, I know this is an 8GB VRAM card and I know maraming nagsasabi na 8GB is not enough for gaming for 2025 and above. Kahit ng 2024 yun yung sinasabi nila. And I still believe it's up to the devs to do the optimization. Dapat hindi pasa sa gamers yung bulk ng process para lang makapaglaro. I think it's still up to the developers for optimization. I think 8GB is still fine for 1080p gaming. Plus, like I've said earlier, I'm still using a 3070 in my gaming rig and I'm actually gaming at 1440p. So I can attest na ubra pa talaga ang 3070 sa 1440p gaming. I just have to drop down several graphic settings. The seller is selling it for 13,000 pesos and buti na lang since my girlfriend is from Cavite and magkikita din kami. So I decided to talk to the seller. We have managed to meet somewhere in Bacoor. Sa huling pagtawad ko sa kanya, I managed to brought it down for 12k, which is actually good. Second to the last list of the parts is gonna be the power supply. And I decided to get a brand new power supply kasi I don't want to risk buying secondhand power supplies. Although I'm not discouraging you, you just have to be very vigilant in looking for power supplies, especially on the secondhand marketplace. And for this one, I decided to get this Cooler Master MWV2 750 watts bronze. Since we're on a tight budget, we're gonna go for bronze. So this power supply is selling for about 4,195 pesos, and during the time of purchase, merong parang 20% discount voucher or something. I managed to brought it down for roughly around 3,400. Sa dulo nito, maglalagay ako ng price list plus yung total ng mga parts para makita natin kung magkano talaga yung nagastos ko. And last but not the least, it's gonna be the PC case. Now, in my opinion, a PC case is just a box na dun yung ilalagay yung mga parts nyo. You could actually assemble your PC parts in some random box and go apeshit in playing your games. Meron ako nakikita na kukuha lang sila ng case ng soft drinks. Then kakatout nila yon, or yung mga drum ng tubig. Or you could actually go to the XQC route, yung kanyang Squid Octopus PC build. And so with that, yung case na napili ko is, I didn't buy any. I have a friend, he gave me one of his PC case na pinaglumaan niya, which is this. This brings back so much memories, dudes. Parang ito lang yung mga PC case ng nakikita nyo sa computer shop. This is a very cheap case. I think you could get this case for 700 pesos sa mga local sellers nyo. Meron din ako nakita na PC case sa Facebook Marketplace, which is a very old case, selling for 200 pesos. See, look at the dust in this thing. Yeah. So wala siya masyadong perks, wala siyang RGB, wala siyang tempered glass side panel, wala siyang mga perforated holes at the top. I think this is gonna be enough for a gaming rig since we're on a tight budget. I got this for free. So yeah, that's gonna be all the parts that we're gonna be needing to build a gaming rig. And on the next part, I'm gonna show you the assembly and some benchmarks. For benchmarks, I'll be using Intel Present Month for frame counting, and you can see the results are the readings at the left side corner of your screen. Feel free to hit pause on the video to check on the graphs and the readings. And for competitive games, I had included two titles, which is Fortnite and Marvel Rivals, both running at 1440p resolution at medium settings with no frame generation and no upscaling.
You know where to take you.
Okay.
He lives far from here, which is why we need the car. Better detective than I am. You crack cases that have the rest of us baffled. I don't want to slow you down.
Are you thinking of retiring?
Preparation is key. We must complete as a budget. All right. Phoenix will be with us. Smoke up. Another bump in the road. Seriously, stay away from Job's done.
And we are back, and that was the build and those were the benchmarks. And as you can see, yung PC na binuo natin could handle every game that we threw at it. We started off from the very old game that I could find, which is GTA 5, up to the very present game that was released way back in 2024, which is Final Fantasy 16. Although I do have to apologize to you, my dudes, cause hindi ako nakapag-test ng mga ibang bagong games. I think there are just two games na medyo nahirapan yung graphics card natin, which is Final Fantasy 16 and Alan Wake 2. I think they've used almost 7GB of VRAM. And I know I've said earlier that it's up to the devs to do the optimization, pero whether we like it or not, I think 8GB VRAM is on their way out. And kung meron naman na kung babaguhin dito sa build natin, that would be changing the graphics card into a more higher tier VRAM card. I think the minimum now for 2025 is 12GB of VRAM. That's the minimum. And going to tech power up and using our 3070 as our baseline at 100%, we could see that the nearest performing cards in here would be the Radeon RX 6750 XT at 94% or the 7700 XT, which is 108%. It's probably around 8% faster than the 3070. Ito lang yung problem natin. Since we're on a tight budget, let's go visit Facebook Marketplace and check those cards up. At Facebook Marketplace, the cheapest 6750 XT that I could find is 22,850. This one is cheaper. I guess this is a second-hand model, which is 18,888. And for the 7700 XT, wait, let me look, 24,000, almost 25. Now, I'm not sure if this is brand new or a second hand. Ito, brand new, nabili sa Data Blitz. Data purchase January 17, 2025. Radeon RX 7700 XT 12GB model. So yeah, this is actually a second-hand model and it would cost you roughly around 25k. If we go visit our total here, our total would be the CPU is 5,000, motherboard is 3,000, RAM is 2,249, SSD is 2,000, our graphics card costs us 12,000, PSU is 2,895 in case 0 because we got it for free. Our total cost would be 27,114 pesos. Kung titimbangin nyo Would you pick the second-hand 7700 XT for 25K or entire PC build for 27K? I think that's one of the reasons why they're more expensive than the 3070 because the sellers are leveraging the 12GB VRAM for asking price. It's a demand right now, the higher tier VRAM cards. We actually purchased all our parts brand new. I used Shopee to purchase our brand new parts and our total has amounted to 33,291 pesos, and I had to do some compromises like this Asus Radeon 6600 V3, an 8GB VRAM for 13,995, and for SSD I chose the 512 variant, and it's not even the NVMe SSD, it's just the regular SSD. We actually bought a brand new case with 3 fans, and I bought a cooler for 500 pesos because I opted for the tray type. Since the variant with cooler would cost me around 7,499. So yeah, so if we are gonna build a PC roughly around the 30K budget, it would cost us about 35,000 pesos. So that is what we need to weigh or think about when building a PC. The consequences and the pros. In secondhand, is you're gonna get your parts cheaper. Pero the cons would be you don't have any warranty. If shit hits the fan, your GPU blew up, wala kang recourse because it's a secondhand part unless you do have an agreement with the seller. And while for purchasing brand new parts, you do have a warranty for at least 6 months to a year. But the cons is it would be pricier, of course. Plus yung price to performance difference would be different versus the second hand. So overall, this was a fun experience. And again, I know this is a 8GB VRAM card. Wala tayong magagawa doon. But I might do a series in upgrading this. Maybe I'll get a newer card. We know that the new Intel cards came out, the Intel B580 and 570s. Plus, kaka-release lang ng mga graphics cards from Nvidia. They have released the Nvidia 5090s and 5080s, and we're still waiting for the 5070s. Kung ayaw nyo ng second-hand na 3070 na 8GB VRAM card, you could opt for the new Intel card, which is the V580. Now, one caveat is, what I'm hearing from tech tubers is bumababa yung performance niya when not partnered with the higher tier CPU. Pero nonetheless, you can change the CPU as well. Parang step-by-step na upgrades lang. So regarding my experience in building a PC on a second-hand marketplace, nag-enjoy talaga ako dito because I feel like I'm Brian from Techia City doing his challenges or doing his PC builds. At the same time, I feel like Linus and Luke doing the Scrapyard Wars because I have to look every part in the Facebook marketplace, compute the cost of performance. I really had fun. I didn't expect to have fun this much. The only takeaway or the only lesson that I've learned here is if you're going to the route of the second-hand marketplace, always be vigilant in choosing your parts. Kung meron kayong friend or kakilala na maalam sa PC, I suggest na dalhin nyo siya when doing the deals. If meron kayong test bench, dalhin nyo rin yon para matest nyo kagad yung parts na kukuhanin nyo for sanity check. I really had fun with this experience, and again, for disclosure, my dudes, I built this PC way back in May or June 2024, so I can attest that this PC works. I have been using this as my primary gaming PC, and I've been using that other PC as a capture PC for recording my gameplays for YouTube. So with that, that's gonna be the end of the video, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace. Bye!